So before I begin, I want to say this, that we all are entitled to our own opinion. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's right or wrong. So when I answer the question, do black lives matter to black people? Just know that is my opinion. That plain and simple. You can like it or not. All right? So, the question, do black lives matter to black people? Langston 2092, what's your answer? H-E-L-L, no! That plain and simple. Other things matter to black people. You know, Newport cigarettes, Timberlands, Versace, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. The list goes on. Most of those things are materialistic items. But black love, black unity, black family, that don't matter at all. Plain and simple. We want to be any and everything other than black. And you hear it in our music. You see the clothes that we wear. You pay attention to the type of mentality that we have. And it's far from the quote unquote kings and queens that we were in Africa. Far from that. Even when we were freed, we were inventors and innovators, great inventors and innovators while we were enslaved and while we were freed. We built communities where they had churches, schools. We established black colleges. But you don't see that in black America today. Because black lives don't matter. That plain and simple. You know, just about everywhere I go, man, wherever there's a black event, and I start, mingling with black people, they look at me like I'm a unicorn, like I'm special in a negative way, in a wrong way. You know what I'm saying? When I tell them that I'm a vegetarian, that I don't look at these specific TV shows, I don't play these games, like cards, Tunk 21. I don't shoot dice. You know what I'm saying? I don't have my children looking at a whole bunch of movies. I don't have my children listening to the music, the type of music that we listen to. My children don't know anything about Nicki Minaj. They don't even know of the rappers, the top 5 rappers that are alive, like Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie. They don't know them. Because at the end of the day, let's just be real. We're quick to get on the new generation, you know what I'm saying? The Generation Zs, the millennials, about their music, that's all they talk about is sex, drugs, and violence, but that's what we were talking about too. The Generation X, that's what we talking about too. Most of our rappers that, our big rappers, your DMXs, your Nas, all of them were on some gangster, shoot 'em up stuff. That's what they were. That's what they were all about. Yes, Nas, I said it. Because see, y'all seem to have amnesia, when I start talking about Nas. But you remember, this is the same guy that called himself what? Nas Escobar. But they don't know any of that type of music. I play piano around them, Afrobeat. I play music that raise their frequency and their vibrations. Because hip-hop as of now is a dead culture. But people look at me like I'm funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't supposed to raise my children this way. That they're missing out on something. What are they missing out on? What are they missing out on? My daughter doesn't have a boyfriend. She's not ready to have one. But see, you all will allow your daughters to date 12 and 13 years old, 14 years old. They shouldn't be focused on boyfriends. They should be focused on what they want to, who and what they want to be in life. That plain and simple. It's crazy how you all get upset with people such as Candace Owens and Kanye West when they try to tell you all the truth. When they reveal to you that this Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying, campaign is a farce. And there's no disrespect to the people that run it, you know, but they're lesbians. No disrespect to the LGBTQ community. But these are lesbian women that their agenda is not trying to unify the family, the black family, put the black family together. You can read it on the website. They're not about the black man and the black woman and the black child and the black family. That's not what they're all about. Straight up. And it's evident, you know, because at the end of the day, let's be real. We went out and we campaigned that Black Lives Matter. While at the end of the day, they went out, the ones that run it, they went out and bought $1 million houses. Until this day, the black community is what it is. Before the Black Lives Matter campaign and now after. Black lives don't matter to black people. We go ape shit when a white police officer kills a black kid, a black woman, or a black man. And statistically, I'm talking about in this day and age. We're not talking about the slave patrol. We're not talking about in, you know, history. We're talking about this day and age. Statistically, we kill ourselves triple, quadruple more times than a police officer will kill us. Straight up. That's real talk. We have no respect for one another. We don't. None at all. None at all. Here it is. This is the climate. You know, the voting season. And once again, we're falling for the elephant and a jackass, thinking that they could bail us out of all of the problems that we have in the black community. This happens every couple odd years. Every couple odd years. And we fall for the bait. We listen to Steve Harvey's morning show on our way to work every morning. And you hear this clown, this coon, Steve Harvey say, you need to go out to vote because it's going to make a difference. We need to get Stacey Abrams in. Stacey Abrams ain't going to do a goddamn thing for black people. That plain and simple. Let me tell you something. This is real talk. This is real talk. She lost last time, right? So everything that she promised to black people, why is it that she couldn't been working on that while she, you know, was just being regular Stacey Abrams? Why is it that these so-called black leaders have to be in a position of power in order to make a difference or a change? You don't. You don't have to be a senator. You don't have to be part of the House of Representatives. Neither do you have to be the vice president or the president of the United States of America in order to make a difference in your community. You don't need any of those titles. Take your brains and the people that think like you and come together with a plan. That's why I know that these people are full of shit. That plain and simple. But black people fall for it every couple odd years. Whenever it's time to cast your vote. We don't want change. We don't. We're so disunified till it doesn't make any sense. But you know what's so funny? This is what I've done my studies and I'm entitled to my own opinion. I'm not saying this to be a fact, but I've done my studies on history, African history, as well as African American history. And I see that there's a pattern here. And the pattern is we've been fucking each other, I'm talking about in the black race, for centuries, for centuries. That what you see is a modernized version of what was happening several or hundreds of years ago. That there's always been tribal wars. that black families have always bickered and fought amongst one another, fought amongst one another. And to a certain extent, they have enslaved one another. Not even a certain extent, they have enslaved one another. And that's the fact. That's a fact. And they sold their own kind to the European. So if you want to blame the white man for something, blame him for this and this only. That he just capitalized off of our black disunity. Straight up. You see, you can't have it both ways. You can't say we were kings and queens and goddesses and we were warriors and we was this and that, and then all of a sudden the white man came over to Africa and busted our ass, shackled, enslaved us, put shackles on us, and brought all of us over to America. You can't have it that way. How is it that we had great empires? You know, this is according to history, black history. This is what was taught to me. Not in, you know what I'm saying, white schools, but this was taught to me by street scholars, you know, books that I read from black people, black professors, people that had, some street scholars, some people that had degrees, you know, college degrees. And they said that, you know, we built Timbuktu, Kemet, or formerly known as Egypt, Nubia, the Nubian Empire. Well, how is it that we had these great empires and a couple of white men came over and conquered all of them? That doesn't make sense to me. What makes sense is there was treason. There were a lot of traitors in our race. And you see that in this day and time. It still exists in this day and time. So to think that black people are going to come together one day, it's not going to happen. It's just not. A lot of us have different agendas, and we can't seem to come together as a collective. For whatever reason, who cares for whatever reason? Because it doesn't even matter anymore. Just know that it's not going to happen. Straight up. It's a fact. I spent a lot of my time on this planet trying to convince black people to love themselves. That if you were going to praise and worship a man called Jesus, at least allow that Savior or that person that you praise and worship to look like yourself, to be in the image and likeness of you. And all that time I spent trying to get black people to love themselves, it was all in vain. That plain and simple. Black people, straight up, this is real talk. Most black people, I say this all the time. Do you want to own a building, or do you want to work in the building that's owned by someone else? Most black people would answer it like this: I want to work. I want to get a job. But we were kings and queens, gods and goddesses. Nah. In this day and time, we're more like genetically modified Negroes. That's what we are. That's what best fits us in this day and time. Straight up. People look at me like with this question mark on their face, like, how? Hold on, you said you ain't worked like a job in the last 20 years? Yeah. Real talk. Well, how did you make it? You know, and then when you tell them, you know, what you do, then they judge you by that. You know how many cookouts I've been to? And this is the question of the day. Yo, what do you do? And based on what I tell them I do, that's how they gauge, you know, how they're going to treat me. You see, they'll respect me if I say, yeah, you know, I'm a judge, or I'm a lawyer, a doctor. You know what I'm saying? But if you tell them, I'm an author, in which I have done, ain't that much money in that. Because you want to know why? Because most black people know that niggas don't read. Straight up. And that's a shame. That's a shame. White people are not holding you back. They're not. Ain't no white people holding you back. And truth be told, if they don't want you to live in their neighborhoods, then create your own. You know what really matters to black people? We want the white man's acceptance. That's what matters. That's what we need to print up on our t-shirts, on our shirts from now on. The white man's acceptance matters to us. And it's so crazy. We want the white man's attention so bad, to the point where we don't even realize they don't even give a goddamn what we're doing. They're not paying us any type of attention at all. They're too focused on conquering this world. Straight up. Well, they do this and they do that. It's racism, redline, and systemic racism, and all the rest of this stuff, and they use hip hop as a tool. I've said this rhetoric. The tool, a weapon, against us, and they did this and did that and da-da-da-da-da. You know what? Let me tell you something. We have the power of will. And let's just go on a narrative that they white man is the devil. Let's just look at it like that. Right? Whatever the so-called devil has told you to do, because he ain't forced you to do shit. We're not living in slavery anymore. When you sign a 360 deal, like when you sign on that contract, that on the contract you relinquish your image, you relinquish your publishing, the words that come out of your mouth, you sign that all over to him. That's your will. That's your decision. He didn't force you to sign that contract. And some of you all may say, well, you know what? We're living in a poverty-stricken area. Yo, let me get the hell out of here, man. You know how many people that I know that's black that came from the hood and made it out of the hood the right way? They ain't sell no drugs to their own people. They ain't sign no contracts. They ain't play no basketball, no football, or any of that shit. They got up off their ass and made something of themselves. And that's a fact. Black lives don't matter to black people. Plain and simple. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to end it with this. Black lives, when it comes to me, I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you just how much black lives matter to me. Let someone that looks like me break into my house and see what happens. See how black lives matter to me. Because I'm here to tell you, I have firearms. And the reason why I bought them, the reason why I have them, is to protect myself from people that look like me. Straight up. That's real talk. I'm pretty sure that you're going to leave a comment in the comment section, whether you agree or disagree. Hopefully so. Other than that, like, subscribe, definitely share this video.